How we doing, everybody? And welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back to you on a Thursday here, a great Thursday in the great state of Wisconsin, or wherever you are tuning in today. I hope it's a fantastic day. They're talking about a little bit of rain here this afternoon around the great state of Wisconsin, so we'll see how that all pans. We can't avoid the rain, right? It's just going to keep coming. And holy crap, it's rain. Past couple days, we've gotten close to an inch of rain already, and now talking rain on today here. We'll see what the weekend holds. They're telling me it's going to be nice. I never believe the weather anymore because it changes just like that, right? They always tell you, if you don't like the weather in Wisconsin, just wait 5 minutes, it'll change again. So, like the weather, lots of things happening around the world of sports, and we're going to get into it today, right? Packers, they figured out some of their practice squad yesterday. Some guys that they released were picked up by other teams there. Some guys that I didn't want to see go ended up being picked up by opposing teams there. So I want to get into that today. A little bit of Brewer talk today. Badgers, got to be jumping around. So right away, I want to look at this Badger team. We didn't get into the Badgers much yesterday there because of the fifth three-man roster being released. We talked a lot of Packers. I want to get into this Badger team today. They're getting close. Friday, we're talking already. Tomorrow here, we're going to be talking about football. We're going to be getting a preview of that game against Western Michigan. But right now, we got to look at this Badger team. And where I wanted to look today was looking at Wisconsin. Everybody has their own opinion on where they think the Badgers are going to finish this year. Lots of people have them in that 8 to 9 win range, which I feel is realistic. I really do. But there's paths, right? There's paths to get to 9 wins. There's paths to get to 10 wins, right? How do the Badgers get there? What needs to go right? What could go horribly wrong that could lead to a disaster of a season or we're talking about an A season here where we're in a big-time bowl game, potentially, and this would be the stretch of it, getting into a Big Ten championship game or even competing for a spot in the college football playoff, right? Because now, I could see 3 teams from the Big Ten getting in to the college football playoff. I could see the number 1 team in the Big Ten, whoever wins it, right? I could see whoever finishes second. And depending on what happens in other conferences like the SEC, I don't know if the Big 12 the Big 12 might get 2 teams in there. You're going to have Notre Dame's always your, who knows, right, team there. ACC is going to have a team in there, maybe 2, right, depending on how it all shakes out in the ACC. And then, you look all over, there's going to be a lot of random teams, I would say, that are going to have shots in there. But the Big Ten realistically has room for 3 teams to get into the college football playoff. So there is a way. There is a path. There always is a path, right? So I want to look at my opinion on what needs to go right, what needs to happen, and what can't happen for the Badgers to get to that big. I'm going to go with a big bowl game as of now, and what could go horribly wrong. So let's start with the good. The good, what needs to go right? Number 1, looking at the schedule. You need to take care of essentially every non-big matchup. And that's not the right way to phrase that. You need to take care of every team that you're supposed to take care of, right? Western Michigan, South Dakota, Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern, Nebraska, Minnesota. There's 7 wins right there. 7 wins right off the bat. You take care of the games that you should take care of. I'm not saying that those teams aren't good. I think Nebraska is going to throw together a good team this season. Rutgers has a easier schedule this year that might help them out in the win department, but I still feel like Rutgers is still a little bit behind. Purdue, Northwestern, they always give the Badgers fits, but taking care of those 7. Next, it's taking care of that game against USC and winning at Iowa. Those 2 games right there. Because that game against USC and Iowa, both on the road, USC I'm not as worried about defensively, right? Iowa is always a barn burner of a game. That is a tough place to play to begin with, and that defense is always good from Iowa. It doesn't matter. That defense is good. So being able to get over that hump, put some points on the board, because Iowa struggles to put points on the board, unless if they come out just guns a-blazing this year, just completely different than normal. I expect more of the same from Iowa. So getting ahead of Iowa, taking care of that game. USC going on the road, winning that game on the road against Lincoln Riley. There's still a lot of question marks with USC. They got new defensive coordinator in the room. They revamped the defense. You're really uncertain over what you're going to have with USC. So getting that game early in the season, getting Iowa, there's 2 wins right there. So I gave you the easier part of the schedule. That's 9 wins, right? You have the Western Michigan, South Dakota, USC, Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota. Winning those 9 games are the biggest. I mean, that's the biggest thing for Wisconsin. Because the other matchups that you have, Alabama, Penn State, Oregon. One of those games is on the road. Or wait, yeah. No, all those games are at home. Okay, so that even bodes better for you. All those games are at home. I thought the Oregon game might be on the road, but now I remember it's at home. So you have 3 home games there. Alabama, Penn State, Oregon. If you find a way to win one of those games, that's 10-win season. That's 10-2. 10-2 in the Big Ten Conference. Ohio State's going to be up there. One of those, between Ohio State and Oregon, I could see one of those teams going undefeated. A lot of people are pegging it to be, a lot of people are saying that Ohio State is going to be the undefeated team. I don't know. That's going to be, when those two face off, I believe it's October 12th. Those two will face off. So it'll be week 6 of the season there. When those two face off, that is going to be a dogfight. That is going to be a dogfight right there. That is going to be gunslinging. 2 of the top offenses in college football squaring off. 2 solid defenses squaring off. It's going to be how well does Ryan Day coaching as a good Oregon team, because that is going to be a good team rolling into there. And quarterback-wise, who plays better? Howard, Gabriel. Who is going to be the better of those 2 in that matchup? That could have a lot of implication on it there. 10-2 with a head-to-head against Penn State. You could be, Michigan's still going to be in the fold there, but you're going to be talking about a Wisconsin team at 10-2 with a win over Penn State. And this Penn State team also has to play Ohio State. Now Penn State got extremely, I don't know if you would say lucky, getting out of that East, but since the conference is just no longer East and West, but they don't have to face Michigan and Ohio State. They just have to see Ohio State. So getting that win over them, then the next week, if you beat them at home, so they go to Wisconsin, the following week they play currently number 2 Ohio State. What they'll be ranked at that point, who knows? But you have Ohio State then. That is going to be a tough matchup for Penn State. Coming off of a loss at Wisconsin, going and playing Penn. They do play at home, so that will help that matchup. But playing against Ohio State then, that's a tough two-game stretch there, especially if you lose to Wisconsin. So that could be the difference right there into seeing who could be that number 3 seed in the Big Ten. And the number 3 seed, if you get 10-2 on the season, with wins over USC, with that win over Penn State, and then you have the win over Iowa, who is currently ranked number 25 in the nation, and then you also have that win against, trying to remember my train of thought there. You have that win against Penn State, you have that win against USC, and you have that win against Iowa. Those are 3 big games that you just pulled off there. And then you took care of the rest of the Big Ten slate. That's what they want to see when it comes to committee time. So that 3rd Big Ten spot, which I really feel like is going to be there, could end up going in Wisconsin's favor. Now, for all of that to happen, which, man, it would be awesome. That would be primed, excited for a massive year, right? I mean, that'd be huge. That'd be huge. Packers are rolling, Badgers are rolling. Like, it couldn't get any better. For all of that to happen, some of the things that I feel like need to happen is Tyler Van Dyke needs to return to what Tyler Van Dyke was when he was at Miami for that first season. That is one of the biggest things for me, is we have to see Tyler Van Dyke be Tyler Van Dyke. first full season with Miami there. 2,931 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's the guy that if the Badgers want to be competitive in the Big Ten, they need that guy. They need the precision passing. They need the ability to get outside the pocket and make things happen a little bit there. He's not blow-by speed, right? He's not like it's Lamar Jackson 2.0 we're talking about right now, but he has the ability to get outside the pocket. He needs everything to flow in that order. He's got the weapons around him. He needs to get the ball to those weapons and let them make things happen. So I'm looking at Tyler Van Dyke and saying, if Tyler Van Dyke has a big year and we finally see a big year out of a Wisconsin quarterback, it's been a while, right? Russell Wilson, a while since we've seen a year out of Wisconsin quarterback where we look back on it and we say, that dude was the reason why we are where we are. And not in a bad way, because I've said it in a bad way before, right? Graham Mertz had me saying that's the dude why we are where we are right now. Not in a bad way, but in a good way, saying, hey, Tyler Van Dyke, the reason why, I want to hear on ESPN, the reason why Wisconsin is off to this torching start right now and competing with Alabama, or they're in this game against Alabama, and I want to hear them saying, like, the reason why Wisconsin is going toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the nation right now is because Tyler Van Dyke is playing like he's got his pants are on fire and he's just playing out of his mind. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see, right? And that's what we need to see if this Badger team is going to take that next step forward and be able to compete for a Big Ten title. And that's as far stretched. Like I said, these are all the things that I need to see happen for the Badgers to even have a shot, right? For a realistic shot. So Tyler Van Dyke needs to play big. He needs to be that guy in Madison. Next up for me, I'm looking at Chez Malusi and Tyree Walker, because I believe those two are going to be a phenomenal 1-2 punch in that backfield for the Badgers. But a big thing is to avoid injury, right? It's always a big thing, avoid injury. But we need to see those two step up big time, because when you have two solid running backs in that backfield, that's going to take that pressure off of the pass game to have to do it all, right? You want the pass game to flourish. You really do. But you want to have two guys in the backfield where if I have to turn to them in a game, where just say we're playing Iowa, right? And Iowa, they found some corners. They got dogs out there in the cornerback room, and nothing's open downfield. Tyler Van Dyke can't get the ball to anybody. I need to be able to turn to the run game and say, hey, you need to open it up for us here, right? Perfect. The best offenses are the ones that have the ability to do both. They can run it up your throat, down your throat, whatever you want to call it, down your throat there. They can run it down your throat, and they can also air it out if they have to. That's a big thing for me. I want to see this offense be multi-dimensional. I want them to have the ability that, hey, one night the run's not there, we can throw this ball around. And once we start throwing the ball around, opens up the run game. Then everything's flowing, right? You look at the games that Ohio State has completely throttled Wisconsin. Yes, there's a lot of passing going on, but the run's there too. They can do whatever they want because you're so worried about that pass game that when it comes down to it, you can't do both. You can't stop both. You have to pick one. And then the other one, you just got to hope. You just got to hope and pray that something goes right. Something goes right for you. So for me, Chez Malusi, Tyree Walker need to have big years for the Badgers. I mean, I don't need to see if it's a big year out of Malusi, great. If it's a big year out of Tyree Walker, great. If it's an even Steven, these two are both playing good football, consistent throughout the season, I can live with that right there too. I can live with that. A great running back for me is just as good as having two solid running backs who get the job done for me. That's what I feel like the Badgers have here with Malusi and Tyree Walker. One guy in that receiver room. So I talked, a little bit about the receiver room. They got weapons out there. One guy in that receiver room that I feel like if he takes a step forward will make that make the outside for Wisconsin even more threatening is Bryson Green. If Bryson Green can have a big season, because I've talked about it in the past couple days here. Bryson Green has the ability. We're talking about a guy, he's 6'3", 213, has some crazy leaping ability, has the ability to change directions in the air. All the way around, a solid vertical threat. A solid vertical threat. So, with that, if Bryson Green, last season, he had, just looking at his stats from last year there with the Badgers, 25 catches for 375 yards and 1 touchdown. Not a bad year. But if those numbers increase, if we get him up to, let's just say, around that 500 range for receiving, 500, I don't think that's too much to ask out of there. 500 yards, maybe even in the 600-yard range. And then Will Pauling keeps playing like he is. Vinny Anthony's rolling into it. I think this Badgers wide receiver core is dangerous at that point. I really do. I think it is. Watch out. That's all I got to say to that. Watch out. We saw the big touchdown catch. Bryson Green had a huge touchdown catch there against Oklahoma State when they played, when his first season with the Badgers. He had a big touchdown there for him there. I want to see Bryson Green take a huge step forward. If Bryson Green can take a huge step forward for the Badgers, that wide receiver core is scary. I'm going to be honest with you, it is scary. So I look at that, Bryson Green with the Badgers now in his second season. I want to see him take that big step forward. The offensive line for the Badgers there, my mistake before they're on the Bryson. It was against LSU. He had that big touchdown catch, not Oklahoma State. He was with Oklahoma State when the Badgers played Oklahoma State. When he came to the Badgers, then they played LSU in that bowl game. Big catch for him there. My mistake on that one. But the offensive line for the Badgers, if the offensive line can take that step forward, like I really do think they can, if they can take that step forward this season here with a little bit of the depth that they now have, the experience on the offensive line that is present, I don't see why the run game can't flourish. Right? You have, like I was talking about before, you have 2 solid backs there right now. You have 2 great backs. Jack Nelson, Joe Brunner, Jake Renfro, Joe Huber, and Riley Molman. If those guys take those big steps forward for you this season, if they stay healthy, if they stay connected, that's just going to, give Tyler Van Dyke time, give the option time, give Chez Malusi and Tyree Walker some holes to run through there. And as always, pass protection. Like I was just talking about, giving Tyler Van Dyke time, giving receivers time to run their routes, make things happen out in the open field there so that Tyler Van Dyke can deliver strikes down the field, make this offense explosive. It all starts in the trenches. Got to see a big season out of the offensive line there. On the defensive side, Peterson and Poos. Peterson and the Poos are the 2 guys that I'm watching on that defense there. Peterson coming over, first-year starter there, or he's second-year starter there for the Badgers. Daryl Peterson stepping up in that outside linebacker role there. And then also on the opposite side there, Poos coming over from William and Mary. If Poos can have anywhere near the success that he had at William and Mary with the Badgers, that's going to be a dangerous 1-2 combo on the outside there between Poos and Peterson. Or even Leon Lowry there. He came over from Syracuse. If those 3 guys control that the outside linebacker role, you could be talking about the Badgers. Well, Jake Chaney up the middle too. Badgers have found ways to make linebackers good over the years. That was under Jim Leonard. Now we're in a different kind of hands now with Tressel. That's where I'm looking. The linebacker room. Can they control things, control the trenches, help out those defensive linemen, and then in pass coverage, being able to control that middle of the field there. And speaking of pass coverage, another group that I really want to see step up there is the cornerback room. Now, Hallman is back. We know Hallman is back there. We're going to see Four Queen out there. RJ Delancey, I talked about him yesterday, the transfer out of Toledo there, Xavier Lucas there, and then also Max Laffey stepping in there. And then, you have the safety room, Hunter Wohler. I expect good things out of him there. And then you have Zachman out there as free safety and Camus Latu out there as a free safety. You're going to have guys shuffling around in that cornerback room. But with how much more explosive the Big Ten is going to be now, having Oregon in there, Washington's got some playmakers, so does USC in that wide receiver room, some deep ball threats. You're going to need good play out of those guys in that cornerback room to be able to shut down some of these passing attacks. Kind of, where I was talking about the Badgers becoming multidimensional, you got to be able to shrink these other teams to being one-dimensional if you're going to be able to pull off wins against them. Oregon's going to be tough. That's a team where you rarely get them flustered to the point where you are slowing them down completely on both ends of it. You got to be able to control it to one thing. If it's a short yardage game, whatever it is, if you're playing the run game against them, if you're stopping them in the pass game, they got to run the football. Okay, now you can use your linebackers. Now your linebackers are flourishing up the middle because they're making plays for you. You got to be able to slow them down on the outside there. So for the Badgers to go over the top, for everything to go right, the cornerback room, the secondary for Wisconsin needs to be big this season. So that's my things that need to go right for the Badgers to have a big season. Now let's talk about things that could go wrong. There's always those things that can go wrong, right? What are the things that could go wrong for this Wisconsin team? First off, Tyler Van Dyke does not figure it out in his first season in Madison. That's first and foremost. He struggles completely, right? And it's kind of reminiscent to what we saw. I wouldn't say he was terrible last season at Miami, but the numbers were down. The numbers were down for Tyler Van Dyke. Looking at 2023, 19 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. We see numbers like that where he's not playing up to the guy that we thought we were bringing in. So that'd be first thing that goes wrong. Also, injuries on the offensive line. That'd be another huge problem for Wisconsin. The backfield, Chez Malusi isn't the same runner, right? He isn't the same runner as we thought we were getting in there. And the defense doesn't take step forwards like we believe that they could. Those are some of the things that could go wrong personnel-wise. Looking at the schedule-wise, these are some of the major things that could go wrong, okay? Wisconsin likes to play early on in the season. They like to kind of toy around with teams, right? They don't come out guns a-blazing. I don't even think there's a way, and Wisconsin sports find a way to baffle me. I don't think there's a way they lose to Western Michigan or South Dakota. I think they will, the Alabama game, whatever way it goes, we'll call it a loss. So they're 2-1, okay? The USC game, they go to USC, USC drops them. Okay, now you're sitting at 2-2. You play Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern. Let's just say in that stretch you lose another game. Now you're sitting at, after that would be done there, you're 6-3, 5-3. After that, 5-3, 3-3 actually. There we go. I'm figuring out my own math there. You'd be sitting at 3-3, 4-3 if you win two of those games in there. 4-3 if you went between Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern. Then you have the Penn State matchup. Let's just say you lose that one. You're sitting at 4-4 going into that one. Iowa, then Oregon. This is where the schedule would get daunting then. Say you beat Iowa, you're 5-4. You lose to Oregon, you're 5-5. Now you got that game against Nebraska and Minnesota. Let's just say you win those two games, 7-5 would be your final record for the season. Those are worst. That's worst case scenario for me. That's worst case scenario for me. The Badgers can't find a way to win the games they're supposed to win and find a way to beat those other two, USC and Iowa, the two easier of the tough opponents that they have on their schedule. This is a pretty tough schedule that Wisconsin has. So gotta be watching. They have a lot of games in there that you call trap games, right? The Northwestern game before Penn State, that's a trap game because you do have that 3-game stretch there with Penn State, Iowa, and Oregon. The Iowa game before Oregon could be a trap game for Wisconsin. I don't think South Dakota can end up as a trap game before Alabama. And Alabama's definitely not a trap game before you play USC. You got to get ready for Alabama because if you don't get ready for Alabama and you're getting ready for USC, you're toast already, right? So those are some of my things, some of the players, some of the things that need to go right for Wisconsin to compete, to have a shot for the college football playoff or anything like that. And then on the flip side, some of the things that go wrong for the Badgers to, kind of fall apart. And we could be talking about the Badgers in a different light come the offseason here. So with that, that's about all I got for the Badgers for the day here. Before we move on, I want to get to the sponsors of our show here quick. First, Game Day Supply in Onalaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Onalaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin there. Marshfield Motor Speedways, located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. Get down there this summer yet. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. Nothing better than a great summer day or night down at the track there. Marshfield Motor Speedways. Your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell, find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield, Wisconsin there. Sports Scene, sports cards and memorabilia, located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Get down there and see Al. He has everything you need, from sporting cards to memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars. He's got it all. Sports Scene in Marshfield. And also Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether it was at work, whether you were mowing the lawn, playing with the kids, playing with the dogs, pushing, doing, pulling, whatever you were doing, right? You felt something tear, pop, didn't feel right. You went to the doctor. They said you better go see a physical therapist. I cannot tell you a better person to go and see than Chad there at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. He'll get you right. He'll get you back to work, back mowing the lawn, playing with the kids, the dogs, pushing, pulling, doing whatever you were doing, feeling better than ever. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin there. So we get to the Packers. Let's get to the Packers here, because the Packers this is the interesting move, I guess you could say, of the day. The Packers claim a kicker off waivers from the Titans. So they get Malik Willis from the Titans, right? And then they're like, well, we like what we're seeing out of these Tennessee Titans down there. Wish we would have had Derrick Henry, but that's fine. We're going to go get their kicker, a rookie kicker that they recently released. We'll sign him up there. So, you're talking about one of the most uninspiring summers of a kicking competition you've ever talked about. Anders Carlson, Greg Joseph, they had 3 other kickers in there at some point. They've been trying to figure it out left and right, and they finally said, enough's enough. Anders Carlson, done with it. We're going to bring in this guy here. So, and also Greg Joseph. We said we're not even, we released Anders Carlson first. We kept Greg Joseph, but then we said, done with you both. You guys both struggled equally in this summer camp. We can't deal with it anymore. We need to go out. We need to find us something that's going to work for us now. So we go out. We grab this rookie kicker here off waivers from the Tennessee Titans. Looking at Narveson there, Braden Narveson came out of North Carolina State, and looking at what Brian Gutekunst had to say, he said, Braden was a kid we liked coming out, and then he had an excellent preseason there in Tennessee. As it unfolded, and he was like, we just thought it was an opportunity to get a really good young kicker and give him a shot at it. So Gutekunst admitted he was sometimes lacks patience with specialists, but his confidence level in the 2024 Packers was too high to settle for an option lower than the standard ad kicker. So Carlson basically just went on. Carlson, the kicker, didn't take the developmental step this summer, necessitating the change Joseph, experienced, wasn't nearly consistent enough. What Gutekunst said there, he said, we're going to try to get better there, and whether that was Anders, whether that was somebody from the outside, it didn't matter, but we needed to get better there. He went on to say he had a good preseason where he hit a 59-yard and a game winner at the end to handle that kind of pressure. You're constantly monitoring that kind of stuff there. And then he also went on to say, we're really excited to get Braden in here to see what he can do. And he's certainly got a lot of talent. We're excited about that. But at the end of the day, like all the guys who made this team, they have to produce. That's part of the National Football League. So that's a little bit of what Brian Gutekunst had to say there about Braden Narveson. Now let's check this guy out. Let's check this guy out here. Look at the stats. See what he did. So, trying to find his stats there from his time at... Wow. ESPN makes it impossible to find Braden Narveson's stats there from his time at NC State. Oh, wait, found it. There we go. Now we're cooking with gasoline. Watch out. So he actually started his career at Iowa State. In 2019, 2 for 4. So didn't get a big sample size there. In 2020 at Western Kentucky. So he was at Western Kentucky for 3 seasons there. He went 13 for 14 in 2020. His long was 53. And then in 2021, he went 22 for 27. That's 81% there. His long was 53. 2022, he went 15 for 21, 71% on the season there. 5 for 7 from 20 to 29, 3 for 4 from 30 to 39, and 6 for 8 from 40 to 49. And then 50 plus, he was 1 for 2. So 51 was his long that season there. He's 59 for 59 extra points. So the big thing I look at when I look at this guy down the row here, is I look at the extra point factor. Perfect on extra points throughout his college career. Now, it's college versus the NFL. I'm not saying they're completely the same. They're not completely the same. But when I look at this guy from college, extra points were perfect. So that gives me already a boost of confidence because you've seen a lot of kickers. The crazy thing is through the years now, we've seen kickers missing a lot of extra points, it seems like. So having a guy who's going to be, essentially a chip shot for him every time, you love that. So in his career in college, perfect from the extra point. 71 for 91 in his college career kicking. That added up to about 78%. He was 4 for 12 from deep, so 50 plus. His long was 57. Looking at, from 1 to 19 yards, he was 1 for 1. He was 17 for 19 from 20 to 29, 23 for 27 from 30 to 39, from 40 to 49, 26 for 32, and from 50 plus, he was 4 for 12. Okay, so you look at that and you say, that's not the greatest in the world. Not the greatest numbers, I guess. But you look at him in the past preseason there, he's 6 for 7 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points there. And like Brian Gutekunst said, he had a 59-yarder. He had a 59-yarder there. He hit a game winner. He's got, in situations where your nerves are at their highest, he performed. That's the biggest thing that you can take away from that, is that in the biggest moments, this guy performs. Could it be worse than what we saw out of Anders Carlson? It very well could be. But at this point, you're just bringing guys in. There's a lot of kickers in the world, right? There's a lot of kickers. You're bringing guys in, and it's just open tryouts. At this point, it's just open tryouts. Who fits? Who doesn't fit? If he fits at the end of the day, great stuff. But you could not, and I said this before and I'll say it again, you could not go into the season with the expectations that the Packers have and what everybody else has. You look at a lot of, like, Pete Percoso, I believe I pronounced that right. He was a longtime NFL writer. He picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl. He has them winning the Super Bowl. He also has Matt LaFleur as a head coach, or the coach of the year. So you have expectations through the roof now, right? You jump-started this rebuild almost, right? It was supposed to be a rebuild. We're talking about a team that's still one of the youngest, if not the youngest team. I can't remember last time I checked, but I'm pretty sure they're still the youngest team in football. You're talking about the youngest team in football. This was supposed to be a rebuild slowly, a couple years. Now we're talking about the Packers, right? This was a jump start. All they did, it was supposed to be a rebuild, and all they did was reload it, fired it back in, and said, let's do it. And that's, I mean, it's been perfect so far for them. It's been perfect so far. So you could not go into the season with if, ands, and buts about the kicking situation. That is the one spot for me. I mean, yeah, that's the one spot for me where I look at it and I say, I need a sure-handed guy there who is going to be 85%, 90% in that range. Like, I need a guy in there. I would love a guy in there. If he's 84, I'm not going to lose my mind. But I need a guy who I can throw out there, and I have confidence in a 45-yarder. I did not have confidence in Anders Carlson. I definitely didn't have confidence in Greg Joseph, but at that point with Anders Carlson, it couldn't get worse, right? At least you had a veteran in the room. So you needed that guy who you could have confidence in, that could grow with you, you could work with, and that you believed, end of the day, could be your best option as of right now at the kicker spot. That's what they have in Braden Narveson there. Preseason stats, he was 85% field goal percentage, 100% for his extra points. I mean, that's good as me. That's right. That if I had Braden Narveson end of the season, I'm looking at his stat line, and he's 86%, 85 to 89% field goal percentage, and he's extra points. He's sitting at 100%. Good, awesome. Take it to the bank. Love it. Got it. I mean, you just that would make you feel good. That means that your kicking spot is held down, and if it didn't work, now we're looking at the rest of the team. But you're not looking back and saying, well, if my kicking would have been a little bit better. I mean, you're talking about Anders Carlson last year, 81%, and he was 87% from extra points. 87%. 34 for 39. 1 point doesn't seem like a lot, but it can turn out to be a lot when it comes down to it. So getting this figured out was huge. Hopefully, I'm hoping Braden Narveson ends up being that guy for the Green Bay Packers, and everything is figured out in that sense. Looking at some of the Packers roster moves, so let's just fly through the roster moves real quick here. So, the Packers there, we did see practice squad players that were signed. So let's go to the practice squad players that were signed quick. Some of the notables here. Alex Hale, he's on the NFL International Player Pathway Program. The kicker there, Alex Hale. A lot of work to do with him yet. They're hoping he's got a big leg, right? He's got a huge leg. So they're hoping they can develop this guy a little bit more, get him ready, and then throw him out there to the Wolves. So Alex Hale does get signed to the practice squad there. Deslin Alexander, Sean Clifford. Michael Pratt did not end up on the practice squad there. I thought Michael Pratt would be the guy they signed back. They didn't sign him back. He ended up going elsewhere. We're going to get into that one here in a minute. But Sean Clifford did end up on the practice squad there. Kalen King, I was glad to see Kalen King did end up back with Green Bay there. Robert Rochelle also back with Green Bay. Outside of that, we did see tight end Messiah Swinson end up on the practice squad there. So all 12 practice squad players signed, and they did all sign back there. They got 12 guys back. That's both the notable guys to really key in on there. Let's see. So I was just going to look at some of the guys. Caleb Jones did not return to the Packers there. Christian Welch did not return to the Packers. Michael Pratt ended up with the Buccaneers. So now we see that one there. Michael Pratt ends up with the Buccaneers. Did not want to see that. Another thing I didn't want to see, Samori Toure going to the Bears. I believe he got signed to their practice squad too, which was interesting. But I believe he ended up on their practice squad. Packers might end up with a way to get him back. I don't know if they will. I was really hoping to see Samori Toure end up on the Packers practice squad, but you can't always get what you want, right? Can't always get what you want. Grant DeBooz was another guy that he was a guy with a realistic shot at the 53-man roster. And, I mean, had a good preseason. I thought he was solid. Ends up going to the Dolphins. Dolphins snatch him up there. Royce Newman ends up with the Buccaneers. Good luck to you. Good luck to you with Royce Newman. That's okay. And Anthony Johnson Jr., the guy I thought the Packers should have signed, and at safety there on the 53-man roster, he ends up going to the Giants there. So those are some of the big notables. I thought one of the biggest ones that I didn't, it's not like I didn't expect it, but Michael Pratt, he's going back where he came from, right? Down there in Florida. So a little bit closer for him. He probably wanted to be there anyways. I was hoping, just because I felt like he could develop further than what Sean Clifford could. I was hoping to see Michael Pratt end up on the practice squad for Green Bay. It doesn't work out that way. And now we see Sean Clifford end up on the practice squad, Michael Pratt going down to the Buccaneers there. And I mean, he's going to join Royce Newman. So there's a little bit of your Packers moves there. I'm going to assume there's going to be some more moves that may happen yet before we get into the regular season. We're getting closer and closer. I mean, holy crap, Ola. I was just talking about how close we are to Badger football there coming up tomorrow. We're talking 9 days away from Packer football. So we're right around the corner from the NFL kicking off down in Brazil. I mean, Brazil is excited. It looks like I've seen a lot of graffiti art and everything like that. Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, pictures that people have, painted up there. They're excited. I'm excited. I saw a thing about the total amount of money you could spend to catch like every NFL game this season. And the numbers were ridiculous. The numbers were absolutely ridiculous. If I could find that post. Odds are I won't be able to find that post now. Well, see what happens. I lose it. I lose my post. It was like $1,000 some dollars or something like that if you wanted to catch every game. Oh, that stinks. I had it. Right there. Got it. NFL fans could spend over $1,300 next season to watch every game. So local games, approximately $74.99 per month. ESPN Plus, $10.99 a month. Peacock, $5.99 a month. Prime, Amazon Prime, $8.99 a month. Netflix, $6.99 a month. Sunday ticket with NFL Red Zone, $739. So the approximate total would be $1,387.69. Wowza. I mean, man, I saw a thing. It's like, can you imagine telling Red Foreman I hope everybody's seen the That 70 show there. Could you imagine telling Red Foreman for him to watch the Packers, he had to download Peacock? Could you imagine that? That'd be the funniest conversation. I really do think they should get the actor that played Eric Foreman and then Red Foreman. They should get them together. And they should create a video of Eric telling Red that he has to get Peacock to watch the Packer game, and just hear him, because that would be the funniest 30 seconds of a guy going off about this whole subscription thing that I've ever heard. Like, can you imagine? It's like, you tell, your grandparents now or something like that. They're like, they're big fans of, let's just say, like, the Packers, the Badgers, whatever it is. Like, they're big fans. They've always been fans, right? Lifelong fans. And you tell them, you're like, yeah. They're like, well, when's the game on? You're like, oh, it's on at 3:05, whatever it is. And they're like, oh, okay, what channel? And you're like, it's not on, TV tonight. It's on Peacock. I've gotten this look before where it's like, how do I, Peacock? Like, well, I'm just not going to watch the game. I'm just not going to watch it. I don't have Peacock. I'm just not going to watch it. And then I have to, go through the TV, try to get it all set up for them and everything like that so that they're able to watch the game and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where, like, I get it. End of the day, it's a money thing. That's all that it is. It's a money grab. Who's going to give the most money to have that game on there? But at the same time, it's like, man, how many more subscription services will you need to have to watch a full season of football? You're talking, 17 games now? 17? Yeah, 17 games now. And you have to have that many subscriptions just to watch your team. If they're on Thursday night, you have to have Amazon Prime. If they're on, let's just say, they're on a Friday or something like that. They're going to be on Peacock, so you have to get Peacock to watch that. Some games are on Netflix now. You have to get Netflix just to watch these games. It's ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. All the streaming services that have the upper hand in this whole thing, and you have to spend money just to watch your team. I know a lot of people who do boycott it. But at the end of the day, it's just, man. So with that, I mean, let's get out of the TV subscriptions because we could talk about that all night. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But I just wanted to say, Brewer game last night there. I mean, I'm watching it right now, bottom of the 8th. Brewers 5-3 lead right now. They got 2 on, 1 out. Hopefully, they get some more runs across the board here. But I got to say, Freddie Peralta pitched a great game. A great game for the Brewers. This is what I wanted to see out of Fastball Freddie, was a solid performance against a solid team, and that's what we got last night there. That is what we got last night there. Freddie Peralta, his final stat line, 6 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. That's Fastball Freddie. That's the dude that at the beginning of the year I said this could be the ace of the staff. That is him. Fantastic game out of him there. The bullpen got roughed up there with McGill and Kane in there. Great to see Payam step in, though. They brought him back. Pat Murphy, being Pat Murphy, day after Payams blows the game for the Brewers, bring him back out there, goes of a third of an inning there with the strikeout. I thought that was huge. That was huge for me to see. Was Payam step into that role and say, okay, brush it off, move on with life, we're good. He was solid in his little outing there. We'll see if the Brewers don't score. Your bases loaded, 1 out. You know, the Brewers struggle with the bases loaded. Hopefully they push across the run here. But if they don't, Devin Williams time in the 9th inning. Hopefully Devin Williams can shut the door on this game. And by the time we're talking again, we're talking about a Brewers series win because they will have that final game of the series coming up today here. That'll be a 1:10 start for that one there. Should be a good one between Birdsong and Savali there. Brewers, Giants, finishing up that series. I'm going to say the Brewers should win this one. But you never know. You never know with the Brewers. They love to keep her interesting and spicy for you there. So with that, like I always say, if you have a chance, go down, like, subscribe, follow the show if you can. And if you could, share with your friends. Share with friends, coworkers, whatever. Let them know about the show, you know, where you heard this, where you heard that. If you disagree with me, if you like what I'm talking about, everything like that, definitely leave that down in the reviews for me. That'd be great. It really helps me out, you know. And if you have a chance, like I always say, go down the bio, click send us a text message down there. Send it. It sends a direct message to the show. Lets me know everything that you're thinking about the show, anything that you thought about what I was talking about that maybe you were thinking otherwise, you agreed, everything like that, or any opinions, everything like that that you would love for me to talk about here on the show. That'd be great there. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.